right, everyone. We are talking about hooks today. How to create a hook, some good tips, and everything in between. But let's just start with just giving a short understanding on what a hook is and take it from there.
Yeah, so a hook is the first 3 to 5 seconds of a video. Some would even say actually less than 5 seconds. The purpose of it is to literally, as it says, is hook the viewer into the actual video so that you'll get them through the first couple of seconds to kind of spark curiosity so they'll watch the rest of the video.
And
So
yeah,
easy.
so easily said, right?
Yeah.
Now let's just put it into the perspective of actually creating one.
Yes, that's harder.
No, but I think it's obviously, yeah, hook is there to hook you, which I think is quite often people just focus so much on this basic interpretation of it, is that they don't give enough thought of actually, okay,
How?
supposed to hook you, but like how and actually why? Like why do we need people hooked? Because quite often we forget that, okay, we make UGC videos and they're sometimes pretty and sometimes they're like this and that, but we sometimes forget that every UGC's video purpose is technically the same, is for people to make an action. And for that, they need some more information or a little bit more context or visual or whatever it is to guide them there, right? And I think without the hook, that's basically never happening. So, and even with a hook, it could happen or not, but without one, it's definitely not happening. So I think the importance of it is very important to remember, and the value that it needs to bring to the audience's life, right? Because it could either be a problem solution kind of hook, or educational, or controversial, which we also definitely touched upon quite a couple of times in our podcast. But I would love to hear from Ali. What is your sort of way of thinking when you start creating a concept for the video? Do we think hook first? Do we think body first? How is that?
Always go straight to the relatability and then from that build up my hook and everything, because I think obviously there's different styles of UGC and whatnot, but I always think that at the core UGC is about being relatable. So anytime, so that's why even, and I'm sure you're the same, I'll always try to work with brands that I actually would have something that I could relate to, so then it would actually feel familiar for people watching. So for me it's like, how would this product fit into my life, or how would it make an issue that I have easier, or how does it actually reflect something in my life that it is relatable. And then once I have that core kind of message, I'm like, okay, right, how can I build that back? So for example, I was given feedback on one of the videos there this morning, a creator put in, and she'd done a really good video. It was about vitamins for children, but the product was really cool because it wasn't just like a tablet, it was actually a little squirty thing you put into drinks. And for that, the feedback I got, I was like, to make that relatable, what's the number one issue with children and taking tablets? They hate it, and they hate doing it in the morning before you're trying to get them out to school. So for that kind of hook, I was like, in future, think about, bringing it back to yourself. And okay, you're a mum, you're busy, you're trying to get them out the door, they hate taking these tablets, they don't like swallowing them. This is perfect because now you get out the door, it's one less thing in the morning. The children actually love it because it makes their drinks funner rather than being something hard to take. So it's bringing in that relatability, and plus you're twisting it to be a hook too, that then parents are able to see like, I need that. That's going to make my life easier.
Just to quickly add to this, because you just had a brilliant point there.
Yeah.
Anyone listening to this, go back to when Ali said all those like benefits and like USPs of the product. She didn't have to have the website open for this. She responded to main issues that a parent can have.
Yeah.
In our reality, not digitally, not on the product page or from the points in your brief. I think it's so smart to do that little checklist yourself before you even start looking at the product page.
Literally,
right?
Yeah. And then building it out. So that's what, I always recommend to do that, because I think too the best UGC is the ones that come across so in tune with the person that you can tell they actually would use that, or they're actually excited, because then it feels so much more real. Whereas when things are too focused sometimes, and like we've all made mistakes in the past, like I know in the past I've made videos and I look back on, I'm like, that was too nearly structured and too USPs and like basic. Whereas now I'm constantly thinking like, how would this relate to me? Because basically what I want to do is for someone to watch my video and be like, she gets it, that's me, I feel like that, I have that issue, okay, therefore this product will help me too. So it's constantly trying to call out to the people that would be similar to you or will have similar issues, similar lifestyles as you, and really getting them. But yeah, I highly recommend doing that, and I think it's such a nice way too, because sometimes it can be really tricky with products, depending what it is, to work out how am I framing this, especially if you haven't really got maybe a clear brief from the brand. So always relate it back to you first of all and be like, okay, what is my main thing that would make me interested in this product, and then go from there.
Yeah, think of yourself as an audience almost.
Literally, yeah.
Imagine that you
Yeah.
bought this product and like you just want to genuinely share a good reaction to your
Yeah.
friend on a FaceTime, right? Or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I think
And
with
then,
the hook, sorry.
yeah, no, sorry, I just wanted to add, because even when I think about just landing pages in general and brands and products, sometimes the brand won't know how to put its actual value in the product page or in the landing page. And most of the times, you're going to be the one that actually extracts a better value from the product because you are the user of it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, as Ali said about just not even like having a look over the product, just knowing what the product is, of course, what it does. I think take it just from there. I think that's a good exercise, not even to have a look on the website, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just try to imagine how would that literally fit into your lifestyle.
Your life.
Like, why
And I
would
think-
you need it? You know?
Yeah, and I think that goes back to too, obviously, like, this is our full-time jobs creators, and I could not always work with brands or products that are fully in alignment with you, but I think it's never a bad road to go down is sticking to products that do align with you, because it does make your life 10 times easier if it's something you're genuinely interested in. And sometimes, as good an actor you might be, you can't fake that. Like, if it's something's genuinely so you, it does come easy. But one thing I wanted to say too, even on the back of what Maria said there about web pages, when people don't even sometimes know or they're not getting the thing out. I find a lot of time with hooks too, when people are trying to be really authentic, they're nearly waiting too long to get to the point. And the point of a hook is that you're straight in there to it. And like, that's a skill on its own. I think sometimes having a hook that doesn't feel too forced and straight to it, but it's still getting the point across in the first couple of seconds. Because the worst thing you can do is literally be like, hi guys, so today I'm doing this, today. Oh, and yeah, anyway, I want to talk about this product. You've already lost the person. You need to be kind of straight in there initially with it and actually showing it, and don't wait too long with the initial starting to get to the product. Because at the end of the day, people want to buy the product, they need to see it, and they need to see how it fits straight away.
It's just brand recognition, isn't it? It needs to be there just for that subconscious to start kind of, you know, those hamster wheels are moving. But I think it's very interesting. I just lost a thought. Hold on. You just said
getting to the point. What else did I say?
Yes, got it. So I think it's very interesting with the concept of a hook, but also at the beginning of the video, because I think quite often we misunderstand the kind of like hook, body, and CTA. The body is actually a lot more to it than just the body, right?
Yeah.
There is a build up and there's a like priority of information in this body part as well. I've been recently giving a lot of feedback to prioritize content, because I've seen a couple of videos where there's a hairdryer. The first scene is just a hairdryer out, just like that, against a wall. And then they put the cable, like the storage solution is so easy and so great. And then at the end, 40 seconds in, we can see the hairdryer being used on hair.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you know, we watch so many videos. Sometimes we lose, like, okay, you showed everything, tick, 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 tick. But actually, no one is going to get to that point where you actually use the hairdryer and show the beautiful results. Meanwhile, the hook and that beginning of a body are two very different things. And sometimes they don't have to actually be flowing into like one sentence or, you know, the realization of the next sentence, you know. With the hairdryer, like if we're looking at this example and if we break it down into like what could have happened, imagine just a beautiful shot of the hair styled as a hook, being like, my hair never felt like this before.
Yeah.
And here you are. This is the hairdryer. Simple, but so much the hierarchy kind of
it's more engaging.
Changes.
Yeah.
That too as well. But it's just that you see the result. You see the product, what it's done, and that's the hook. Yeah. But, you know, seeing a hairdryer against a wall, just not going to do it. It's not going to be aspirational. It's not going to solve. It's not going to, you know, respond to any of those
context,
needs.
I think, too, because when you're scrolling as well, you want to see the context nearly, and that's why a hook. So we'll even talk about too, like obviously you can do hooks with your words, but also the visual hooks. But if you can get both at the same time, that you're giving context, you're saying something as well, that is a winner, because then you can actually really get that person to watch on. And it's exactly what Nicola said there too. I've been currently loving videos that nearly give like a glimpse to like the after already, because I think it's been drilled into
the
marketing.
Foreshadowing.
Yes, foreshadowing trends such a good thing, because I think in marketing you're also kind of always told like, oh, like don't show it until the end, or don't do this or that. You have to get the person to go through it. But our attention spans are so low sometimes that we'll not even care to get there, that you need to show like a little wee tweak or tease into like, oh, this is it. So then you're like, oh, okay, I'll keep watching. And so no, definitely the foreshadowing kind of content, I love that at the minute. I think it does really well too.
And we need to stop thinking, because I think a lot of the time we as creators talk about the hook and grabbing people's attention so much that we forget that this is not conscious on their side. They're not choosing, no, not interested.
Yeah.
This just happens automatically.
Yeah.
And you've got that literally way less than 3 seconds, way less than the whole hook. Actually, the beginning of the hook should be the hook. You know, it's like if you start breaking it down, you're going to go crazy. But psychologically, I think we sometimes look at it like the audience might not like it.
Yeah.
This is not about that.
But how would you know?
Exactly. This is not about that. It just needs to be something that just gets them stuck for that millisecond. And that's it. The rest might be that they're going to watch, or a little bit more or a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But there's more chances of that action being taken. But it's just get it out of your head that the audience chooses if they like it or not. No, it just happens.
Yeah. That's actually a great point, because everyone is saying, I could see even like in conversations or in like briefs or anything, and they're like, oh, we tried this hook and it worked. I mean, yes, it worked because you were at the right time, at the right place probably, but you have to come up with other hooks. You can't just do a hook and that's it.
I think this is actually quite interesting from your point of view now, because obviously this is the ones that like creators doing it, but you do a lot of ads. Clip does a lot of ads that then you probably be the best at always to know, like with the hooks, that when you're saying there the fact that brands will see that, okay, this worked in the past. So what would you then think? So for example, for you in your ads, you see a hook that worked in the past really well. What's your mindset then going forward? Do you use elements of that? Do you try to replicate it with a different creator? How would you?
That's a good question. I'm going to tell you what we're doing at the moment. So we have this amazing ad that performed really well in the UK with I think with Angus. I think you know about him. He created a couple of videos for us back in, oh my god, last year. Yeah, that's
where's
crazy.
the time going?
I know. And one or two of them, they were winner ads like instantly. Like it didn't. I mean, after a couple of weeks, I think we're just like, okay, this is win. This is clearly a win, And that's why we did other videos with him, but they didn't perform. So again, that's another proof that you don't need the same person or the same reaction or the same background. It's just about being more creative and more creative. So anyway, that's for the UK market. He's British. He has a very British accent. And we tried to launch it in the US. I think it was a bit of a success there, but at some point it just dropped the performance. What we're doing now is we're literally replicating his visual with the copy, of course, with a US based creator, so an American accent, right? And guess what? If we can see, it's early stages now because we just launched it a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I don't remember, but very, very just early stages. We can see good like results so
Nice.
far. It's literally the same ad. It's just
The accent is different.
The accent and obviously the person, right? It's literally the same moves, like the way it starts with the video, like. So the hook for that video is stop working with lazy influencers. And I think the hook is literally him with like us with the headphones. No, he doesn't have the headphones, but he has a mic in front. He's in the office or something, and he just leans back and he's like, stop working with lazy influencers when you can have videos like this. And then boom, we have just a couple of like quick, product videos, and then he's like, or this, and then again, boom, 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 and then or this, and then it's almost like a testimonial kind of video when it's a long video. It's 30, 40 seconds, something like that, Long, I say long for us because we usually try to keep it down to 20 seconds because that's what we've seen. It's working best. But it's crazy. It's the same video with the same hook that is going to perform, because this is a big pain point for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't want to
would
work with
you-
influencers that are not, producing the video quick.
And would you say then going forward, so obviously you've tested UK market, you've tested with the UK creator, now you've done the exact same with US. In terms of the life cycle then of that ad, would you then think, okay, once that starts stepping down again, would you then replicate it again with a different creator to like pump it up? Or could you think it would always kind of be not evergreen, but nearly that you can get quite a lot of time out of using that concept over and over again? Because I think sometimes brands, they do something that does well, but then they're like, okay, but we've done that idea, we need a fresh one. Whereas that's quite a good example of like, you don't have to do fresh all the time, that you can have a little bit of a mix, always have fresh ideas, obviously, to keep testing, but that kind of way. So what do you think? Will you do a different creator, or?
So we got another video from another creator, a male creator. So I'm going to run it this week. I'm probably going to launch it. It's literally the same copies, same thing.
That'll be interesting, yeah.
Yeah, and now I'm going to get 2 or 3 more videos, but from a female creator, and I just want to
Yes.
test to see if is it just because it's a guy saying this, or
Yeah.
is it just because, I don't know, it's
I personally love that, though, the fact that you're keeping everything the same and just now starting to switch, because that's when you get the real insights.
That's
even
when you're testing the tiniest
because
thing.
that's when it's like really the psychology nearly of advertising, and like how will people react to like slightly different things changing. So you have to tell us, you'll have to give us an update
Tell
for our
us.
next
Yes,
pod,
definitely.
but like how
Yeah,
that
we'll
done,
definitely
because
let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really curious as well with the female ones. And just to get back to your question, Ali, in a way or not, I would say yes and no with the hooks. If you have a very strong hook that is performing really well, I say double down on it, but never settle just for that one, of course, because you can't just keep that one.
No
And
eggs in one basket.
No, no, 100% no. And even with that hook, I think you would have to try different visuals, because you never know how it's going to perform for you, you know. So if you have even the guys at Social Cat, I think they have this ad that is running since 2020 that is still performing. It is a static ad with a gift, like a something wrapped in a paper something, and it's just blue background or something, and then it just says something with like small brands, something with micro influencers, gifting. Yes, that is it. I think you probably know it already, because it's probably still like targeting you. But yeah, gifted collaborations, something gifted collaboration with something. I know that ad because I was talking with Caesar about that ad when he launched it, and I told him put the text on top left right corner or something, because I think it looked pretty, you know.
And
But
sometimes
then
It was all thanks to you, Maria. It's all thanks to you.
yeah.
I don't think so. I don't know. It's just like it's very random. I wasn't even doing ads at that point in time.
Yeah.
I didn't know what ads were, like how to actually, optimize an ad and all these things. So it's just about, and the main point is that they are still using that copy till this day in other ads, in other creatives. So if you have that, it is a gold mine for you.
Yeah.
Use it.
Yeah.
But don't overuse it,
Don't
because that's
overdo it.
another that's also
It's
a problem.
it's all the thing of balance, isn't it? But I think
Again.
what we can learn from videos like this, that we have a winner hook, with it's just working, right, in one of the ads, then I think what we can learn from it is the context, what was said, what was happening when it was being said. Like what the hook was, what was it? Stop working with lazy influences.
Yeah.
If you think about it, this, like in a average UGC world, could be said like, my issue has always been working with influencers and they're not delivering. Same content, the same, the same content, but put in but to just have such a different connotation to it, right? It shows, first of all, it gives us more context on the emotion, because it shows frustration already without even saying relatability. Like the person already has gone through that issue, so they understand your pain point, and that the solution is coming. So all of those things, urgency, relatability, and the content of it all just works. So now it's just start thinking about other things that would also fulfill all of those things that are happening, right? And add to it a little movement, and boom, you could have a formulation for something that has more potential to work for the future than something randomly different.
Yeah.
Right? So there's something to work with.
That's actually such a good point, is like literally seeing, even with your statics or your other forms of ads, like what is, and just recreate it into it and do that. So I think that's such a good idea, because sometimes people, I think, will do them so differently that they'll be like, that's our static language, that's our UGC, and like they need to have a cohesive, that's a really good point, that like just keep it the same across and like test it to see that work well there. Let's see if it does here too.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think for a good hook also, and we can just quickly tap into visual and just copy, because I think that's also a big part of the hook, right? I forgot what I wanted to say, but yeah. So I think just like you said, Nicola, right? Because you can say it in so many ways. You can, I mean, literally, there's a million ways to say the same thing, different words, right? But obviously, try to keep it short. Like, don't bore people with
snappy,
words
snappy.
like the end of whatever. Just make it, squeeze it as much as you can, and just think about, if it's a problem solving, right? I think this is most of the time the hook. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but this is what I see most of the times used in videos, like problem solving, kind of hook, which is great, but I personally feel that I'm getting very bored of it. Like
I agree, yeah. I would have been a big fan. It does work, but I feel like not all the time.
Yeah, but we need to also be reminded ourselves that we are on the other side of the industry. We are bored of it because we've seen it so much
every day.
True,
but
true,
we are
true,
not
true.
potentially, going to be targeted with those ads.
Yeah,
so that's just
yeah.
one tiny thing to consider, because don't get me wrong, I'm fed up with them too.
yeah.
But
Yeah, no,
there
I
might
get
be
it.
a reason why it's a reoccurring
Yeah, true.
scenario.
No, I think it's, I think it's the most effective one.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's the most effective hook, because obviously people want solutions in their lives, and there you go. It's the easiest route for everyone. And it's just, if it's done again, if it's done properly, then yes, it is a winner. But I think the challenge lies into the other types of hooks. For me personally, for clip in general, and we talked about it so many times now, it's the ones that are more disruptive, the ones that are just going for it, thinking out of the box. Yeah, that's what works for us, and that's what we're going to do. And if you find the ads that are the most relatable to your audience, just go for it. Don't even think about necessarily changing the concept of the hook. But if you haven't, obviously you can still try it, but I think just double down on the ones that really work. Instead of, because you're just doing extra work.
That's it. And it could
be
and it could not bring anything, right?
Yeah.
But I think from more of creators' perspective as well, is the building of a hook should always be in the forefront of your mind, in a way. I agree with Ali that you should create your body first, like the juicy bit that you need to know what the product does, because that's what's going to allow you to build that hook upon. Can be random, like, look at this, it doesn't make sense. But once you apply it and you say, like, don't even say anything, but it could just be like, perfect. That's just something that is going to hook someone, or it's going to be a weird angle. The hook is going to it needs to do something, right? It needs to give you either a solution for your problem, or it has to stop you on your tracks, or say something that you're like, absolutely not true. What else do you have to say? And then you just keep watching. So I think for creators to build that hook, and I think it's going to be a nice kind of transition to talk about visual and audio, because for me, always, it's going to be that sweet spot when that audio meets that visual and everything just kind of,
I love that. I love those ones.
Because when that happens, for us as professionals, we're like, ooh, juicy. But for people, it also works the same way. People are like,
100%. Yeah. So is this a winner hook? Having visual, like, and audio and copy all together, like a secret recipe, let's call it.
I'd say, yeah, like having, because I think the best that works is if you're able to get across visually. So if someone's listening to it on mute, but also like with that audio too, like giving that extra. Because I think too, like if I'm even giving feedback to people, a lot of the time it can be, that was great, you talked about it but you didn't show it, so like I need to see, like as if it's a movie once again, like you're the narrator, give me the dialogue, I want to see exactly the process, I don't want to have to imagine it, I'm lazy, show me it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that is the winner when you do that. And then obviously too, when you're bringing it into it as well, like captions or your copy into it, and if it's once again too, depending on what people like. Now brands I think are kind of, it's kind of a mixture. Like some brands like the captions obviously on it, but those call out pieces of text even on videos with the audio and with the visual hook, with the main point, that always looks really nice too. So it's just dependent on what you like. But I just, it always, to be honest, and I feel like I'm a broken record, it is test, rinsing, repeating, and it's just constantly just going round and round and seeing what works and what doesn't.
But try to, I think, if I was to build a hook, I would try to kind of engage as many senses of someone as possible, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's when visual and audio works very well, it's because people have to, like, you know, it's constant switching and it's like you've got them for that second, right? But it's like, I love when girls or boys, but it's like, it feels almost like when you're watching, obviously we know it from the perspective of recording those videos, creating those videos, like we know that that's a hook. But people who don't watch it, I like when it happens, when I watch a video and for a second I forget that this is supposed to be a hook, but it's just so natural. It's like someone's sitting there and they've got ice in their glass, you know, and they're like, this is what happened, you know. And it's like, it's movement, it's me talking, and there's also additional, you know, making the most of like those little life moments that happen that we don't notice, but they happen. I feel like that's when it's like
magic,
you know, magic. The hook magic just happens then.
That's, this just remind me of your newsletters, Nicola, and the amount of examples of like UGC examples. It's just I love it. I honestly, I'm reading that newsletter for those examples. To be honest,
the one you set out yesterday too was fantastic.
Yeah, exactly, because like literally, this is what we need to see. This is what people need to understand, and obviously this goes to the creators, and this is for creators to relate more. But I think brands should also watch these videos.
Examples.
Just go and take time to actually stay on social media and get targeted by these videos and see how you react to them and what is a good hook for you, and you know, all these things.
And I'm gonna
put
be
yourself in the shoes.
And I'm going to be completely honest. I think as a UGC creator, before I did the newsletters and before I created also my UGC page on Instagram, I was a little bit naive and I was a little bit like not realizing that that research is such an inspiration, such a source of inspiration, that when you start looking, it's like there's no bottom, you know, you just keep going. It's like Pinterest.
There's more and there's more and there's more.
And you just see yourself like, ooh, like, and you don't necessarily, I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but when you watch those, you don't think, oh, like, I wish I thought about that. No, it's striking something in your head. That's that little thing. It's like, oh, I've got this video on my agenda, but this would work. Like something, you know, this like the little inspiration struck. And for the hooks mainly, because we as creators are bored of other like videos too. We're not gonna be watching the whole entire video, but at least if you get inspired by those hooks, because people are really putting a lot of content online. There's a lot to learn from. And I think it's just silly not to, I was silly for a very long time, not taking advantage of that. I think I can put my hands up and say that. So the newsletters definitely helped me with that.
No, it is. It's a gold mine, to be honest, for me to see so many examples and so many things that I've never thought about. And I'm as guilty as you are, Nicola. I'm not like watching enough videos. I'm not like doing enough research. It's the research that I am doing when I'm scrolling on my Instagram, right? But I am at least mindful when I'm, you know, scrolling, and then I realize this is a good video, or oh, this is a good what I do now, because I'm doing a lot of static ads, I'm also trying to get visuals that look like Instagram friendly, kind of, you know, so people don't realize it's actually an ad. And whenever I see something, I'm just like, oh, this is interesting, and it's not sponsored, it's just someone posting on their feed or something, you know. So I'm just like, screenshotting, on screen recording, on doing these things. Do that
Yeah.
as a brand, even as a creator. Do that so you can have your own like bank of content
I
inspiration thing.
I highly recommend. Like for me, I obviously the best of us, we would love to be always consciously scrolling on Instagram. But even when I'm looking up stuff for work and I'm sitting on TikTok or Instagram, I'll go on to that app and I'll be looking for something specific, even if it's just like, right, what's trending sounds or trending things going on.
Yep.
And 10 seconds later, I'm like, shit, bring my focus back. I'm looking
Distracted.
for something specific because you get distracted.
Yeah,
But like,
yeah,
what
yeah,
helps me is literally like what you're saying there about screenshot and saving. I have, so obviously on Instagram, you have your little folders for your collections that you can save things.
Yep.
I literally have a folder, inspo, and anything that I ever see saved straight away.
Yeah.
And then it means if I'm having a day where like the ideas may not be flowing as good or I'm just needing some inspiration,
Yep.
I go to that and like 9 times out of 10, it will sort me right out and it'll just spark something. Like Nicola said, you just need that spark and then you get it and then you're
Yep.
able to build it out.
And then you're good.
It's
You're golden.
good. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But speaking of distractions, when I'm writing those newsletters, do you know how many times I go on TikTok and I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
And then just scroll.
I'm like, how am I watching a Beyonce's concert now? What happened?
That rolls you go down, it's like, right.
The perks of like, doing these things, like so many.
And the
Yeah,
curses.
and the curses as well. Well,
I know, you want to be focused and it's so hard. It's like this social media was meant to distract us all. So it's very hard working at it sometimes because you're like, no. Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else that we wanted to like discuss?
I think that's
we
we've got a good wee time there too.
Yeah, and I think we have kind of touched upon things that I don't see a lot of conversations about when it comes to hooks. Because it's a very kind of static check.
Yeah.
But actually, to break them down into a little bit more like emotional side and what is it? Like, what is the action that you want? I think it's very interesting. I feel inspired now for my videos that I have to shoot today. We've got a couple of ideas already. So cheers, girls. Thanks for that. But yeah, it's always great talking about hooks because it is the most important thing about the video. Unfortunately, always will be.
Yeah, and it's I think it's also a dynamic process that changes through time, right? So
yeah,
it's always,
but it's just to get in your head that if that hook is not hooking, no one is watching your beautiful work later.
Yeah.
Like, do you put in?
Yeah.
You know,
and
how
that's
sad
the
is
big
that? How sad? Yeah.
So sad. So just make sure that you know what a hook is, first of all. And then second of all, be creative, be super snappy, and just try to incorporate as many elements as, audio, visual, copy as you can in that hook. And just keep it short and sweet because that's a win situation here. And yeah, I think we will definitely do some more episodes around hooks and just maybe go with even deeper into these kind of hooks and even more examples because I think the examples are very good about hooks for so long, right? We know the theoretical like part, as in you were in uni and you just have to know what it is, learn about it, but when you finish uni you're just like, okay, how am I going to apply these things?
Now it's time to apply in life. There's 3 stages, right? There's knowing and understanding, and applying it in your life.
Yeah.
There's very different stages and sometimes we're confused where we're at.
Exactly. So I think the examples are more welcome so we can actually look at videos and just compare
that would be cool.
and like do these things so it's even more visual with the podcast. But yeah, hopefully this was an insightful one for everyone, even for me. So we're learning things every day. Yeah, let us know if you have any questions. hello@useclip.com if you want to reach out to us over email. If not, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and
Everywhere.
Spotify. Yeah, everywhere pretty much. Use Clip is the handle for Instagram, and Clip Collective Podcast. You can find us on YouTube. And yeah, we will see you in our next episode and hope you have a great day.
Thanks.
You too. Bye. Bye.